Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the fourth day of Arts Week in Kentucky. My name is Chris Cathers, and I am the Executive Director for the Kentucky Arts Council. On behalf of the Kentucky Arts Council staff and board, I would like to welcome you to today. Today's theme is focused on nonprofit arts organizations, and we are excited to have a great lineup for you. The chat function is available if you have questions during this presentation. We are live streaming on Facebook, and in the comments section is being monitored there, so feel free to share your questions, and they will be sent over to the presenters. Lastly, our session this morning is being live captioned on Zoom, so if you prefer to use that feature, you can turn it on at the bottom of your screen. I would like to go ahead and give you the land acknowledgement today. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. Today, we stand on ground occupied by ancient peoples whose history has been lost, but whose legacy remains. The evidence of these ancient people can be seen all over Kentucky through the mounds and artifacts left behind. Today, over 170 American Indian tribes are represented by their members living and working in the Commonwealth. Let us honor those who are here and those who are here now and build on the legacy of stewardship of the land they left for us into the seventh generation. Now I will turn it over to Tamara Coffey from the Kentucky Arts Council.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As Chris said, this is a day for nonprofit arts organizations. So we've got a couple of things lined up for you this morning, starting with Heath Eric, who's going to be talking about marketing for organizations during the pandemic. Heath is the founder and president of the Eric Group, which consists of a number of entities, starting with Rumsey Records. He does organization and artist consulting and a myriad of performing ventures, everything from back of house to front of house to booking and anything you can imagine in between. So Heath, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tamara, and good morning to everyone. I'm so thrilled to be here. We certainly love all aspects of the Kentucky Arts Council and everyone involved with that, the organizations, the artists, and more. And I'm actually enjoying a little side chat here on the Zoom bar with so many folks that we haven't been able to see in person for quite some time. So I'm thrilled to see some familiar names and some familiar faces. Thank you to Chris and Tamara and Emily and Mark and Eric and everyone with the Kentucky Arts Council for the opportunity to join you all today. We always get super excited for this week every year, and really thankful that the Arts Council folks have been able to continue this, albeit in a virtual manner, so that we can all gather and share some information. This morning, I want to do things a little different than just a typical PowerPoint presentation, because this topic is so broad and so complex. Ordinarily, I would love to go around the room and find out who's in attendance and your specific needs and specific aspects, even brief of your nonprofit arts organization. And I know we can't do that today. So I'm going to start off by saying, please do not be shy with questions. I have my chat open. We're monitoring the feed on FB Live in the chat, and some of that feedback, when I ask for it at times, if you'll share it, that will help me immensely to really hone in on maybe some of your specific needs and questions. And then at the end, there's going to be about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm here. We're booked for the time allotted. Please don't be shy. Ask me your questions. Lay it on me. I'm more than happy to answer them. Ask me the tough questions, and we'll give you any bit of information that we have available. So also, one other thing I would add is I put together an old school outline on real paper, and I know nowadays we don't use that much, but I believe Tamara shared that in the chat, so you guys can download that and follow along. It just really has some bullet points and key broad strokes that'll kind of guide us through that. So that being said, I hope everybody has their coffee. We're an hour behind the Eastern time zone here at 9, so still getting things going in Rumsey. But briefly, as Tamara said, my name is Heath Eric. My company, the Eric Group, is primarily a consulting and marketing service-based company. However, we handle all aspects of events, concerts, production, from sound and lights to talent buys to branding of community events and festivals to the public relations and the marketing, which is really neat for us to be able to really take that whole ball and bring all those factors together so that that's consistent and has the best chance of success. As we know, last year, it cannot be overstated, the curveball we were all thrown. So we had to quickly adapt to survive, frankly, and thankfully we did. We realized very early on that there was really no stopping that train that is and has become COVID-19, and we learned a lot. We had a lot of successes. We had some failures where we made some missteps, but we always turned around and guided back to the overriding singular important focus of what has become marketing now for really anything, and that's safety. And that's really where I want to begin. While I'm going through this, and thank you guys. Hey, Jason. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Jessica, for sending me those chats. That really helps a lot, and I'll hone in on anything you ask. But I really want to begin with sort of a message overview before we get into the medium overview. And again, I know many of you may know some of this, some of you don't, but it's really important to start out by saying now more than ever, regardless of what you're doing, but most certainly when it comes to nonprofit and arts-based organizations and programming, safety reigns supreme. That is what it is. There is no way around that. There's no sidestepping it. Safety reigns supreme in everything you do and every choice you make with your activities, whether they be virtual, in person, whether you're thinking of working towards reopening your museum. That safety message, at the risk of sounding obtuse and facetious, that safety message is the key branding aspect of anything you do right now. And we found that over and over, and leveraging that has actually led to incredible successes. So you can't understate the level for safety, and a head in the sand mentality is not going to do anything other than hold back the organizations who choose not to acknowledge that. Another key thing in any marketing or messaging you do, because things are shifting every day. And even as we plan full seasons now, and we just released one yesterday, actually, we are doing that conservatively. And what I mean by that is we're not planning for going back to how things were. That may never happen. We hope it will. But the reality is we are where we are now. So we're communicating clearly as possible expectations, whether it's as simple as something like when you come in, last year it was all about the temperature checks and your masks and social distancing. And our staff does this. Clear expectations so people know what to expect. If they're coming back to a physical place of business, a museum, a dance studio, a performing arts center, it is super important that you communicate very clearly in everything you do what your fans, clients, and ultimate end users can expect, and then hold to that. So I'm assuming most folks here have those plans together, have those boxes checked, have all that stuff in order. But that is very key. And then the other thing in your planning and communication before you get to your marketing, it's important to plan conservatively for this year. Last year, we had all these great, wonderful events planned that were going to change the world. 2020 looked to be a banner year by all standards for travel, tourism, arts, performances, and we really had to pull back everything. So moving forward, as we work through this, and I do believe we're over the hump and we're coming out with light at the end of the tunnel, we advise to really do that conservatively. It's much easier to open up, to loosen your restrictions, to forego some safety protocols as things get better than it is to attempt to rein them back in. We've already been through that in 2020. This industry has suffered arguably as much as any industry on the planet. And the last thing we want to do is have to pull things back in again. So have your safety plans in place, have your safety message in place, communicate that effectively in everything you do, and plan a little conservatively. It's always better to open up. So that being said, let's dive in. And boy, we got folks from stage one Owensboro Museum of Fine Arts. Hey guys, Jessica, Jason. Hey Jason. I appreciate that. Appreciate that information. Any specific questions, don't forget to hit me. So the neat thing, and I don't mean to sound as if the benefits to what we've learned in our marketing and public relations with regards to the arts have been learned due to a great tragedy, because it's awful what's happened, and certainly none of us could have wished for that. But we have learned some things, and we have seen opportunities through those challenges and through that loss. One of the greatest things I've learned is a focus, more importantly than ever, in marketing and public relations, specifically as it pertains to nonprofits, to tell your story, to be truthful. The cotton candy, bells and whistles, lights, come here, do this. That's really, we've seen, taken a side seat to the hardcore truth of what we're doing, to our humanity, to what we're all doing to survive this on multiple levels. And we've really seen that be beneficial and key to many clients' success. And what I'd like to do right now, and I was telling Tamara earlier, timing cannot be better. This is actually the world debut of this video, little hyperbole there, but it was just approved last night. One of our favorite clients is a nonprofit entity in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, the Beaver Dam Tourism Commission. And if you haven't heard of them, they adapted last year. The pandemic hit like a freight train, and they jumped on the safety train right away and said, listen, we're not going to shut down our world. We're going to adapt. We're going to keep people safe, and we're going to focus on safety first and foremost. Everything else comes after that. And I wanted to show this quick 3-minute video that we produced. Our video director, Will Troutman, and Nikki Troutman produced this video. This is the first time folks have seen it, but it gives you a broad overview of what I'm talking about with the commitment to safety. So take 3 minutes and watch this, and then I'll be right back.
When COVID hit the world, we didn't want to just, turn off the lights and say it's over. We wanted to say, what's the possibility? What's the potential here?
The 2020 season at Beaver Dam Amphitheater was an incredible success. It was different than anything we've ever seen, of course, because of the pandemic. But we had crowds of people come in their pickup trucks and even to a Casting Crowns concert at the amphitheater. It was an incredible success, and it was a wonderful thing to be able to see people actually come together during a pandemic, socially distanced, of course, but to enjoy music in a safe way.
Beaver Dam adapted. They did very well. It was all new to everybody, but the concerts that we were able to pull off, especially the drive-in shows, made everybody aware. I think even more so of the amphitheater and the fact that we could pull something like that off safely. I mean, we made headlines.
Everybody from the Tourism Commission to the mayor to us at the Eric Group wanted to come together and make sure that the 2020 season could be pulled off. Of course, there was a lot of safety measures that were taken to do that, and safety was top of mind for everybody throughout the entire season. And we were able to pull off several drive-in concerts and one concert that was socially distanced at the amphitheater.
We want to hold ourselves to the highest standards, so we followed the most stringent guidelines. Safety has always been our concern. We want our concerts to be a place that everybody feels completely safe.
The Beaver Dam Tourism Commission hosted the first drive-in concert in Kentucky with the Kentucky Headhunters. We actually did the show at the Ohio County High School, and it was an incredible success. We had a great time. We had a great crowd that came. It was a free show, but the admission, if you will, to get in was canned food for our local food pantry.
For 2021, since we're still in the midst of this pandemic, shows are still going to be, we're still going to be socially distanced. We're still going to take those health and safety precautions that we have to take, and we're not going to skimp on that at all. We're going to do everything in our power to keep everyone safe. We're prepared to have a extremely successful 2021 season. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year.
Thank you, Eric, for showing that. Appreciate that. So the reason I wanted to show that is just to really, as we go down this funnel towards the actual medium and marketing tools you have, safety cannot be overstated enough. Consistency across everything you do, and then using what you've done and what you've learned to show folks what you've done, what you've adapted, and steps you are taking so that you're not just passive in this activity as you reach out to your clients, to your shareholders, to your patrons, and to your fans. And then the other thing with that, hey, Philip, hey, Deb. Hey, Deb, got some bluegrass folks in attendance. Good to see that. Is really before you get to the marketing, the stuff you're going to pay for, now more than ever, there is great coverage to be gained through publicity, because the story is what it is. I mean, 2020 and 2021, even into 2022, the pandemic is going to be headlines. And the way we respond to that on a human nature in the interest and goodwill for all is always going to garner attention. And using those types of publicity-based programs, videos, news releases, you may remember hearing Molly say in there, we did the first drive-in concert in Kentucky, and we were only 1 day short of the first drive-in concert in North America. Alan Jackson beat us by 1 day. But we did that concert free. The Beaver Dam Tourism Commission wanted to do it for the community. It was in June. It had been in the toughest few months of our lifetime. And the price of admission was a donation or food for the food pantry. And I don't recall the exact number, but it was overwhelming, the amount of food and dollars that were raised to help those in need most. So now more than ever, that safety, that being a good neighbor, doing goodwill, now more than ever, the arts have an opportunity to do what we've all known our whole life, and that's to affect positive change. And we have the tools to do that. We have the programs to do that. And if you keep that focus, your marketing is going to fall right in line with it. So I hope I'm not being too confusing. All that focus on your message, having your ducks in a row with safety, having your programs, having your house in order, telling that story with your publicity, telling that story, what you've done, showing it in a professional manner. You have all that together. We're going to shift to the marketing side of it. Marketing and publicity are equally important, and they work hand in hand, but it's all about telling your story. One of the things we get a lot of, and I'm going to move to the nuts and bolts of it. One of the things we get a lot of, especially in today's day and age, with the way things have opened up for advertising on social media, is really anybody can do their own marketing. You can do it yourself, or you can hire a professional. We encourage you to hire a professional. That's the business that we're in. But we also know that many arts organizations have very capable people on staff who are probably better at us at some of that. All we would advise is that you take the time to dive a little deeper than your typical Facebook boost that we all see. And by that, just a brief note, if you're not using Business Manager, it's a professional platform, part of Facebook. Business Manager for your ads, you really need to. The tools it gives you to advertise, the demographics, all the perks are phenomenal, and it can take your social media investment to a whole new level. You can almost literally reach out and touch who you want. And for a marketer, it's like drugs to a kid who grew up in the 80s on the West Coast. Just kidding, but it's good stuff. So make sure you get into Business Manager on Facebook, and that will allow you also to target folks through Instagram and Facebook, which a lot of the younger folks, Instagram is really, and what we do, for the longest time, our Facebook return was up here and Instagram came down. Now we're seeing about a 60-40 return across those two platforms. And you can do that all through Facebook Business Manager. not the app. If you go to business.facebook.com, I believe you can get your account to Business Manager. It's a little overwhelming at first. If you're not familiar with that, pay some money to a professional to really kind of give you a tutorial on that. And the cool thing, one more note on that, the cool thing about Business Manager is once you get going in that, you'll actually have the opportunity to speak with a real person at Facebook. And the more you use that, at some point, you can even get an account rep, which is really neat because they'll really help talk you through that. Where your dollars, I mean, you can just nail whatever you want with your publicity things, with your marketing things, and track your returns. And certainly before the pandemic, social media was the new greatest thing and the key for advertisers. But during the pandemic, it has become even more beneficial. But the key, again, to cut through the clutter. Thanks, Molly. Yes, she just shared that up there. To cut through the clutter is to have your message consistent, have it focused on what matters, tell your story, and present that in a professional manner. If not, you're just going to be wasting dollars and not knowing where that's going. I'm happy to answer any questions on Facebook Business Manager, Facebook Ads Manager, and talk about any of that. I don't want to belabor that point and get too deep in the trenches because I know a lot of folks are very well versed in that and do it. But I just want to make that point that even the smallest organization with a little bit of training, a little bit of diving in, you can really control that message. The next thing I want to hit on that's really becoming more commonplace for us and showing even more engagement is the Google Ads platform. And it's honestly, I think it's easier to use and more user-friendly than the Facebook Business Manager platform. And if you have a Gmail account, if you have a Google Suite account, it's real easy to set up your Google Ads account, or if you have a YouTube channel. And it's almost, I liken it to playing a video game. Again, you need your content right, but you can target, hit the folks you want to hit in your region, whether that's locally, nationally, or internationally. I know I'm seeing many organizations come on up here and saying hi, and a lot of these organizations have indeed an international reach. So the ability to do that and to really showcase your story is really phenomenal through Google Ads and YouTube Ads. Google Ads will be your protocol, your portal for both your YouTube ads and then also anything you see in a Google search for your organization or anything. So between those two social media platforms, your Facebook Business and Ads Manager, and Ads Manager is in Business Manager, and then your Google Ads, which does your Google Ads and YouTube Ads. Those are the two social media areas where we spend the bulk by far of our dollars and find the greatest results. So that's what we advise. It's what we do every day, and happy to answer any questions on either of those as well. But again, I'm kind of shooting in the dark, so I know many of you folks use those, and I'm seeing some familiar names of folks who do that quite well. The other thing, and again, back to the human nature of things, is we always encourage building your own fan, client, patron database. And I know, again, many of these folks here, you guys have that. But your email newsletter, that direct link to your folks, has now become more important than ever. And in a time when everybody is really, at this point now, last year we were all just trying to figure out what's going on, what are we doing, how bad is this, what's, I hate to say it, I was on the camp in April. Molly and I, we tapped our well. We built 300 feet of privacy fence. We built 2 more garden areas, and we were in for the long haul because we, if you know where we live out in Rumsey, we could ride out the apocalypse, and we thought we were. So we hunkered down for it, and we were just trying to survive. This year, everybody's chomping at the bit. We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. We're wanting some positive news. We're wanting to be reassured. We want to know that our favorite museum or our favorite performing arts center or our favorite concert venue, what's going on? What are you doing? What's happening this year? What are you doing for safety? If I bring my family to see a concert in Owensboro, Kentucky at the Bluegrass Museum, what can I expect? So your email newsletter is more important than ever to communicate that. Or if I want to go to Josephine Sculpture Park, you know, what's the vibe going to be? I want to bring my kids out there. Are you going to be open? Can we do this? Can we do that? That email newsletter cannot be forgotten, even in your quest and your dollars you're spending to gain more customers through your social media advertising. So we would encourage you to be consistent with that, but really hold, you know, your closest fans, your biggest customers, maybe a little bit closer to you during this, because they're the ones that want to know what's going on. They want to see light at the end of the tunnel. They're planning what they're going to do in May, June, July, and it's good to share that good news and that consistency with them. Mailchimp is, if you don't have an email newsletter service, that's who we suggest to start off with any program. They have things from free platform usage up to 2,000 subscribers, all the way up to professional enterprise systems. And it's really, really easy to step through that and go through it. And then the other thing, we've talked about your social media, we've talked about your email newsletter, but it's important to keep that consistent across your web. It's real easy to fall into a lull of survival and change. And I mean, we've all had to, you know, before 2020, we'd all worked so hard to have this program, this plan. We've done our strategic planning. We know our budgets. We know what's happening. And then all, you know what, broke loose. But it's important to take the time to make sure that your house continues to stay in order on the internet, and to keep all those messages consistent on your website, with your social media, and then whatever you're communicating to your customers through your direct to consumer email newsletter. Now more than ever, that's how folks are engaging. And, you know, we thought that was the new wave of the future 10 years ago, and then a pandemic hit. And I think we're all learning the true value of connection, even if it's through bits and bytes across the internet. So really, it's an opportunity, I see, that you can connect with folks on that true human level in a more intimate way through the internet. And I would encourage you to really take that opportunity, because that's what folks want to hear. That's what they want to know. Again, back to safety, despite what you may hear, despite, you know, some of the things we all hear, folks want to know they're going to be safe. They want to know what to expect. They want to know what they're buying, as the old adage goes. And you have a great opportunity to really communicate that effectively from your home office, if you would. So we talked about the publicity. We've shown you the focus on safety. We've talked about ways you can get your message out there, and I've just hit on some high points that we use. There are more. I mean, there are many social media platforms, but by and large, those are the ones where we spend our dollars, and that's what we encourage others to do as well. But I wanted to show a couple of ads, and these aren't hard call to action ads, but they're ads to simply drive traffic to a website and hopefully to the venue. Beaver Dam Amphitheater, I need to also thank them. I spoke with the mayor this morning, and he gave me his blessings to share this information, and encourage everybody to come to Beaver Dam. It's really cool. You'll have a damn good time, I can tell you that much. Damn good time. But I want to show you a couple of pieces that kind of piggyback that campaign on safety, because as you can imagine, you can't go to concerts now. There are no pits up front with everybody screaming and rocking out. There's no seating. You can't sit. There's no traditional seating where you're sitting next to each other. There's no grouping together and eating sandwiches and hanging out. It's all changed. And we had to change the entire concept of what a concert looks like. We're starting concerts there in May this year, and we established this whole new pod seating thing, totally revamped the whole deal, and it's an educational process. It started with our commitment to safety that you guys just saw, and now we're rolling out new seating and everything to educate, communicate to people, let them know what to expect. The first ad I want to show, Eric, is the seating chart, if you could. And while Eric's getting that up, this is being pushed across Facebook, across Instagram, across Google Ads. hosted on the website and communicated to the email newsletter subscriber list. So anybody who had been to a previous concert, just to kind of tell you what that looks like and how this may affect you and your plans, that concrete area, pre-pandemic, we could fit 1,500 people in seated rows in there. Do what, Molly?
Show them what the stage is. You may just need to illustrate what's going on
there. Okay, I got you. So at the top center of the graphic, that's the top of the stage, if you will. So you're looking overhead, you're looking down on to the seating area. And at the top center of the picture, just below the logo and the beaver, you're seeing the top of the stage. So that entire concrete area, pre-pandemic, we had approximately 1,500 people who would fit into there. What you can't really see is an expansive upper lawn behind those squares where we could fit another 3,000 to 3,500 people. So we've taken a 5,000 seat venue and condensed it into a 1,500 total seat venue with these 120 tables. And we're explaining that there to people. We're communicating that, each one of those squares is a pod. It's an 8x8 pod with a 6-foot walkway, a 4-foot table, and 4 chairs. We're telling people that these shows are going to happen. We're not canceling them this year. We've taken the steps. We have an approved safety plan. The state approved it last year. We have a great healthcare partner with Ohio County Healthcare. We're communicating to folks that if you come to a show, we're going to do everything we can to keep you and your family safe. And that's just a graphic to kind of explain that and show you that in real, all about safety, professional graphics, and you're doing it. Eric, thanks. That's all I needed from that one. And that's really the message I want to keep hitting on, is that consistency and the focus on safety and communicating that to folks, because people want to know. And the question we get a lot of times, and especially last year when things were changing so much, we're stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, is it's difficult to clean up missteps. It's difficult to go back, and it's difficult enough to have a message that resonates with people one time, but when you have to revamp that message multiple times, the water gets even more murky. So really think through the campaign you're going to do, plan it out, make it look good, focus on safety, and then make sure at each stage you're reinforcing that and planning a little conservatively. In our case, with Beaver Dam, that's the model we're using all year long. We do have room if things improve later in the year on the upper lawn where, we could possibly sell more tickets, but we're planning conservatively to ensure the best and safest possible experience for our guests. And on that note, it's important to also mention that safety is not just for the guests, but it's for you. It's for our team. It's for our crew. It's for our artists. One thing the pandemic has really done is really leveled the playing field for all of us. It's almost like water. It's been the great equalizer. Leverage and times of green M&Ms and parties backstage and all that jazz have kind of gone because we're all really working in this together. Whether you have a featured artist coming in, you have a up-and-coming group coming in to perform, you have a national Grammy Award winner coming in, you have an artist coming in to do a live presentation, a speaker, a sculptor, you name it. You can't get away from that safety. It's for everybody involved. And that working together, I think, has really brought out the best in all of us. Thanks, Mel. I appreciate that. Yeah, I couldn't hear the laughter. But that's really important to keep in mind too. Your message to the public certainly is focused on their safety, but keep in mind that safety extends to the back of house too. And I know with our company that was the one of the key principles that really kept us busy, and we were able to adapt and actually succeed last year with our focus on safety. And Molly tells me I'm wearing 3 masks nowadays. She tells me it even really helped improve my looks a little bit. So I may just keep the mask on, rocket on into 2025. Who knows? But one other thing I want to show, and this is just kind of the next phase as we lead to, the hardcore ad is, if you think of your marketing, reaching your fans as a process, and it's not just as simple as, I've got this hot dog, I'm here at the corner of First and Main, it's a good hot dog and it's $1, you can buy it if you want, or you can move on. We have the opportunity to tell our story. We have the opportunity to re-engage our fans. We have the opportunity to reach out and grab other fans who are, kind of like figuring out what they're going to do, what they're going to go see, things they used to do they couldn't see anymore. So if you look at your marketing and publicity along a continuum, it's a great time to rethink, to restructure. There's not much going on anyway, and really plan out an effective long-term marketing campaign, not with the end in sight to get back to normal, but to embrace and accept this new normal. And I know that's the new cliche, but it is what it is, guys. I mean, there's no getting around it. So we've really, with some clients and obviously with Beaver Dam Amphitheater, we've really taken the time to focus on some more branding and to really reinvent that whole concert experience. Not to say, hey, you can't come, sit, hang out, mosh pit, but you're going to have a rock star VIP experience. Eric, can you show that top 10 list too, please? This is my final graphic. So this is the next stage after the seating chart, and we're reinforcing safety with positive, exciting new things. We've got a new mascot. We don't have a name for the beaver. We're open to suggestions, but we're keeping it light. We're keeping it fun. The focus this year is you're going to have a damn good time. It's a noun. But reserve table seating, in the past, you would spend big bucks to get a reserve table with table service. Now it's standard operating procedure. So we've really reinvented and refocused on that. Not saying what you can't do, not saying what used to be, but saying what you can do, how things can happen. Meet and greets. Obviously, a lot of artists, they're not doing meet and greets, but there's possibilities for virtual meet and greets where you can engage more directly with that artist than ever before. But we're focusing on the positives. We're taking what we did, what the challenge that we were given, and how we rose up to overcome those challenges. We didn't just pivot to, oh, we can't do this, we'll get through it. Oh, we can't do this, it'll get better. We embraced that change. We made moves in the best interest of all, and we're communicating that message to our fans. Thanks, Eric, for putting that up there. And if you have that message, if you have that safety in place, if you have everything in line that we've discussed, you use those tools, you use the mediums we've suggested, from your Google Ads account to your Facebook Business Manager account, and you have your professional materials in place, you can be extremely successful in accomplishing your objectives, whether they are for funding, whether they are to get folks to attend your virtual events, or as you're slowly opening back up, focused on safety, to get folks coming back in droves into your facilities again. And I can tell you the goodwill and the confidence from clients now more than ever is key, because they want to come back and say, we appreciate you guys. You did a good job. And the comments we see across the board, overwhelmingly 95+% are folks very thankful for the safety. When we first started that, we didn't know what to expect. But folks overwhelmingly appreciate that. That's the message they want to hear. That's what they want to know for their family and for themselves. So if you focus on that, you'll do well. And the final thing, and then I'm seeing some questions, and please hit me with questions. We have still another 15 minutes. I'm here. I love to talk, as you can tell. I will gladly answer any questions you have. I want to really encourage you folks not to be shy this morning. But, as bad as it sounded and looked last year, we are over the hump, I believe. We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I can tell you this year, we have a full calendar through the end of the year focused on safety. We're going to be wearing masks all year at concerts. It is what it is, but we've turned that into a positive, because I would much rather work, go to concerts, have artists performing for people, and live this thing called life than the alternative, which is to stay at home and gripe about it. So organizations that adapt and they embrace those challenges, They put safety first for all. They're consistent with their professional marketing, publicity, public relations, and paid ads material. And they are able to communicate those to their existing clients, fan base, patrons, as well as potential clients, fan base, and patrons are the ones who not just will succeed, but are succeeding. And I would just, if there's one overarching theme, takeaway from today, and I may be preaching to the choir, I'm sure I am, because I know a lot of you folks, but it's to really embrace the reality of the times in which we live and to find the positives in that, and then tell your story. Now more than ever, you have the opportunity to tell your story. Those heartstrings are going to be played and they're going to be heard. So I'm going to take some questions here.
Melanie had one up there, right there.
Yep, I see it. Melanie, one of my favorite places on the planet, not even kidding, Josephine Sculpture Park. We love that place. We miss it. My goodness, we're, used to, we got to see you once or twice a year. Now we're just going to have to stop in one day. Melanie said, I'll read her question. We would like to hire a new staff person to manage our marketing and communications this year. Any suggestions where to post this job and how to find the right person? Great question. Very good question. It's funny you say that because we're actually hiring a few staff positions too for that. It's difficult because, marketing now and your social media is so close to your heart. It's not like the old days where you paid an ad agency to give you an ad and you were great. Where we would suggest starting, depending on budget and long-term and all that, but locally, there's some colleges that have some great programs, not talking interns, but maybe some graduates who are getting ready to graduate and have a focus in that. We also reach out to our peers, and that's where this relationship business becomes more important than ever. You can certainly post those positions on a variety of online job searches, but that gets really discombobulated in my experience, and you don't really, it's very rare you actually, in my experience, again, find the right person from a general job search. But reach out to peers would be my first thing. Look at your local colleges that are near you that have programs similar to the position for which you're hiring, and really just kind of rattle the cages and search around. We have been fortunate, Melanie, to find the best help we've ever had through our peer network and contacts. And a key thing, again, I sound like I'm saying out of the pandemic we had these benefits, but we did. Last year, a lot of people weren't working in this business. For us, we were able to hire professional A-level crew people, marketing people, video people, whom we never would have had the opportunity to hire before because they had other gigs. So I would encourage you to look around to your peers. Give me a call later too. I may have some ideas, but a lot of people who worked in the industry lost work last year, and a lot of folks are doing work from home and they're available. There's bandwidth there for folks to work who couldn't before. So I would rattle cages, reach out to people, look at your local professional network, and then check with your local college institutions as well would be my suggestion. I wouldn't just post it on Facebook unless you just want to have fun, because those comments are always fun. Did that answer that for you? Okay, let's see. Are you seeing a big difference with older age groups? This is from Michael Cochran. Are you seeing a big difference with older age groups in the effectiveness of social media versus email versus print marketing? The short answer is yes. Now, I don't know what you mean by older age. I'm getting ready to turn 50 and I feel pretty old. But definitely, and that's a great question, Michael. Certainly, social media is a younger demographic. They say Facebook is for us old folks, and I still feel pretty hip using Facebook. But that's where we see the Google ads and the YouTube ads really outperform Facebook sometimes in those older demos, because folks who aren't on social media are still on the website. They're still doing Google searches. They're still watching videos, whether it be a Christian music concert or a how-to fix your truck, or I mean, you name it, a sports game, or the local TV programming. That's where sometimes with the older demographics, we can extend that reach with the Google ads. On print, I do very little print. And I love my friends in the print media, but we do print primarily in our local market with our local newspapers, and then a select few monthly publications like Kentucky Monthly, Kentucky Living. By and large, and it varies by community and by organization. It really, Michael, depends on your specific situation and the makeup, the demographic of your fans and patrons. But we do very little print, and when we do, it's definitely strategic and targeted, and that is an older demographic, certainly in our experience.
There's a good one right up here from Janine, right there.
Janine Freeman.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Hello, everyone from Janine Freeman. I'm representing Country Music Arts Incorporated and Project Casta. Question: have you read about Todd Rundgren's? I love Todd Rundgren. Can't say his name though. Current virtual tour, limited live audience admission with virtual tickets available internationally. Have you experimented with live stream concerts? If so, could you share your experience with us? Great question, Janine. We could talk for another hour. Yes, I've heard about it. Yes, we've experimented with it. Yes, we're doing it. There's a great platform that we're using. There are many available, but if you want to check out Mandolin, it's Mandolin, just like the instrument. They do all of the live streams for the Ryman Auditorium. They do live streams for City Winery, and it's really cool. It's a professional ticketed platform. You can sell virtual meet and greets on there where they will, just like we're talking now, let's say, Janine, you wanted a meet and greet with me. We could have a 45-second meet and greet, and you could actually get a screenshot of that talking to your artist. You can get insider content. The key with the virtual thing and what we're seeing, just like anything, is professional quality. You can do everything from backstage access. You really got to work to make it more than just that camera like you see on a Facebook Live. But yes, we believe that did well last year. We believe this year the live stream is going to be very beneficial. We would just encourage taking the time to set it up right with a good, reputable platform. We work with Mandolin, and we love them. They do the ticketing. They do the marketing. It's all professional. Folks can't record it. There's a time limit on the replay. And it's really, really neat how that works. And I think if anything stays with us beyond the pandemic, it will be that live stream, because artists have really found a way to connect directly with their fans and to be able to monetize that instantly in a way that they never previously could. So even when concerts come back to full capacity and we're all able to keep rocking, I think that live stream element is still going to be, even on a limited basis, a part of the future with how artists are able to interact with their fan base. So that's a great question. And a lot of artists are doing that. As we know, we watched the Kiss New Year's Eve thing in Dubai just to check out the grandeur of it. And I think we all agree they did pretty well on that live stream. By the way, Mel, University of Kentucky has an undergraduate and graduate arts administration program. Everett, hey, Everett, just shared. Okay, Seth Murphy. Hey, Seth. Hey, Seth. I just recognized the name, man. Good to see you. Safety question here. Your graphic mentioned food and beverage delivery. How are you handling vendors at your concerts and the potential crowding they create? At our concerts, we don't have outside vendors. That's all handled by in-house concessions. That's a great question, because every component of any event now has to be its own safety world. So even if your event is safe, the artists and crew are safe, you bring in a food truck or a beer vendor or an ice cream vendor, they have to have those same guidelines, because that's representing you and your event. So at other venues where we work with food vendors, it's very strict, it's very stringent. Every single one of them has to not just follow the healthy at work guidelines, but our guidelines actually exceed those. Because remember, we're talking about being conservative, going overboard with safety. So the guidelines that we use at our concerts actually exceed your typical state and CDC guidelines. So if you were bringing in outside vendors, you just have to make sure that their safety plans are in line with yours, and that that all works together to be a cohesive unit. And that's really a balancing act. It can be done, but you really have to make sure they're following the guidelines as well.
Talk about crowding. He's asking about potential crowding.
On the crowding, we're doing delivery to those tables for that very reason, because previously where you had a corral to lead people into a buy funnel, buy this. You can't do that now. So that's why we're doing delivery to the tables. And it's as simple as folks ordering from an app. Seth, if you and I were going to see Sam Bush, we could be sitting there and I say, hey, Seth, we're at table A2. You want a beer and a burger? We'll take 2 of them, tip, done. 5 minutes later, it's delivered to our table. We don't have to wait in line. The only time we leave our table or our pod is if we need to use the restroom, really, because our concessions are delivered straight to us. Where we do have lines, and we're delivering merch as well. Anytime you can handle that, it's better in this new normal. Where you do have lines, and you will have some points of sale where you can avoid those, I mean, you've got to space them out, and you've got to have staff there, and you've got to have that example to people. We have volunteers, staff, and crew people in masks with shirts or lanyards showing who they are, who are standing there. It's a presence. We put the decals on the ground. Our health partner helps us with those to stay 6 feet apart. And it's really all about managing that for everyone and keeping it fair and safe for everyone. So in those instances where lines are unavailable, we manage those lines. But one of the reasons we're doing the delivery to the table service is to avoid those lines and avoid that overcrowding altogether. And one other thing I'll mention on crowding, because I know many of you have museums and parks and other things, is we stagger our entry times and we limit the number of people who can come in. So all of those logistics are really important as you plan and will help you avoid that crowding. Let's see. What? Do what, Molly?
I think that might have been anything.
I got one right here. What successes are you seeing with indoor fixed seat venues? Most, I'm trying to think of a percentage number. There's only really 1 or 2 indoor venues that we work directly with. Everything we do is primarily outdoor or venues that we build on site with the stage, mobile stage, screens and whatnot. I know some venues around us that are operating, and we've done some work inside some. What I'm seeing with them, and I really don't know enough about to term it success or what's working or what's not, but I can tell you what we've seen where we've done production at some of them is they are very strict in their protocols. You're wearing masks anytime you're moving. The seating has been socially distanced substantially with reduced capacity. I know in some folks are allowed to remove their mask when they sit in their seat, but they're certainly 8 to 10 feet apart from others. And I'm seeing them slowly operate. I know here locally, River Park Center, I've seen rave reviews from the work they're doing with some of their interactive movies. And the local dance theater did a show there recently, and that went well. So I guess I could, I know enough to say those have been successful from what I've seen. And I think what I've seen from the outside looking in with them is their focus on safety is just as much, if not more, arguably than the outdoor venues, because they are indoors. I think it's spacing, and I think it's using creative new programming to bridge the gap that you might not otherwise have thought of. And that really goes back to the adaptation is, what you used to do at a performing arts center maybe was a traveling Broadway show. Well, you can't do that now, but you can show a movie on a big screen and have your local folks act it out live and get the audience in there in a reduced capacity and have a great time. What you could do before the pandemic was go to an outdoor festival and cram in with 10,000 of your friends, drink beer, scream, hoot and holler, and have the time of your life. You can't do that now, but what you can do is drive your pickup truck, and what used to be thought of as kind of corny with an inflatable drive-in movie screen is now suddenly the greatest thing since popcorn with low-fat butter, and you can sit there in the back of your pickup truck with your buddies, drink your beer, and watch your favorite artist on a big 45-foot screen. So I think those successes, Michael, are in adaptation and focus on safety from what we're seeing. And I hope that answers your question there. Let me see. I think I have one more.
Do one more and then I think they gotta wrap up.
Okay, one more and then we'll wrap up. Well, I think I answered all of them. And Mel, there's some links on there from your stuff, food and beverage delivery, media and age group. Great. I think I answered them all. Folks, again, I just really want to say time flies, and thank you all so much for for your time and attention. It was so great to see so many familiar faces. I wish you all nothing but the best, and I can't wait until I can see some of you in person again and we can hug without worrying about killing each other, and get back to enjoying this thing called life a little more. If y'all have any questions, shoot me an email. And Tamara, Chris, Eric, Mark, Emily, as always, love you guys. Thank you for everything you do. And I appreciate the impact you've certainly had in our life and artists and arts organizations all across the state.